Living a Healthy Life with your hosts, Ipek and Craig. The show which explores simple things we can do to feel better today than we did yesterday.
Bringing you the most up-to-date information is our mission. Each week, we'll explore different ways to make today the best day of your life.
With me as always is my beautiful bride, Ipek, and my name is Craig. It's all happening this week on Living a Healthy Life. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back in the studio for another episode of Living a Healthy Life. Thank you for joining us. As always, I'm here with my beautiful bride, Ipek.
Hi, everyone.
And today we have yet another special episode. Grab the pen, grab the paper, take some notes. We are sharing with you somebody very special who's near and dear to our hearts. Casey Mitchell is here with us live in the studio. Hello, Casey.
Hello, hello. Happy to be here.
Oh, so awesome to have you here. Before we get into a better understanding of your background and sharing you with our fabulous audience, we want to remind you of a couple things. If you haven't already been to our Facebook page, you can check us out at livingahealthylife.com. No, livingahealthylife.today will point you to our website. And that will take you to our Facebook page, which is facebook.com/livingahealthylife.today. Ipek procures most of and curates most of what you'll find on that Facebook page. Tell them what they'll find.
Yeah, on our Facebook page, we share with our audience pre-recordings of our episodes, along with, I've started creating albums where I am collecting lots of different information and resources and diagrams, infographics about each of the topics we talk about every week. And I recommend and encourage our audience to comment, like, share, and
That's right.
let us know what other topics you're interested in learning about, and we'll do some research.
We're on that page every day. And if you go to our Facebook page, you can get the pre-recordings, which means you can get it before... No, just kidding. The post-recordings. They're the post-recordings.
Post-recordings. I said that incorrectly.
That's right. So you'll find all of our past episodes and all of the research that goes into our episodes.
That's right,
as well.
in case you miss us live during the week.
Pre-recordings would be a nice new trick. The
Right?
only podcast with the pre-recordings.
Well, we are excited today to, as Craig mentioned, share our dear friend Casey. We met her about a year ago, but it certainly feels like a lifetime, and I believe we've spent many lifetimes together. She's a dear, dear friend. We instantly connected and just gravitated towards each other, and she has a very special place in my heart and also in Craig's heart. And we're excited to hear her story and share it with all of you guys.
That's right. So let's hear from Casey.
Awesome. You guys can't see this, but I am grinning from ear to ear, as I always do when I spend time with Craig and Ipek. The feeling is mutual. You guys fill my heart. So I'm very grateful to be here. I feel honored and proud to be sharing my story and hope that it can reach and touch some other people who have experienced some similar trials. I know that I am not unique in some of my feelings, and I hope that I can reach you and help you heal, and let you know what it feels like to come out on the other side.
I think it's living a healthy life is an extension of our lifestyle. And Ipek and I, for our listeners that don't really know us, this is us every day. And what I think you're going to hear from Casey and what we've been talking about is Casey's background. We've known you about a year now. And we talk about what we're talking about with you on the radio. We talk about this every day.
With our friends and family all the time.
Almost ad nauseum, I'm sure, to some of them. But for us, it's important that we continue to share the info that we get.
And it's to the benefit of all of your friends, and you guys are a great example of how to live a healthy lifestyle. And it genuinely makes it easier to follow into the footsteps of someone who's done some significant work, who you spend time with, and not just see randomly an hour here or there. I mean, I've spent nights and days with you. I mean, 4 days on end. That is when you see truly a person's behavior, truly their habits, and how those habits affect the way that they function in their life. It's one thing to appear to be healthy for an hour as everyone goes and grabs dinner and drinks at a restaurant. It's another thing to be waking up day in and day out and truly seeing what it is like to be healthy and how you can function on that level. And that's really what's impressed me. And so, yes, it is a wealth of information every single time I hang out that at times can feel overwhelming, but it's a wealth of information that I have truly used to shape and change and shift and tweak my life into the happiest I've ever been, the most productive I've ever been, and the healthiest I've ever been.
And I just want to add to that. You add and enrich our lives as well. And you're now bringing information to us. It's one of the things that I love about our tribe is that we're not the only ones that are evangelists for that healthy lifestyle. Not that we ever were when we first started, but we're not alone on our quest. And we're going to share some things that you brought to us today as well.
It's definitely a group effort.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about your background and then we'll take a break and then we'll hear some more.
Sure. All through my early childhood, beginning in teenage years, the common story of a young girl with eating disorders developed. And, we all have different triggers and different things that lead to that. And what that does to our bodies is really ravages it. And from the eating disorders, I then developed a very heavy depression that I battled for nearly 2 decades. On and off again from antidepressants, different forms of traditional therapy where you go and you hash out and you hear yourself speak your problems over and over and over again. And antidepressants would work for a little while, and then all of a sudden, my body chemical would change, and then they were making me more miserable than I had been before, and then we'd shift, and then those periods where you're coming off of one and getting on to another, and it truly wreaks havoc on your body. I would go through periods where I couldn't sleep, then periods where I couldn't wake, where my body would ache. I had 1 year where I had a migraine that was so intense that I couldn't function, couldn't turn lights on, point of nausea. That year, I battled those almost every single day. In fact, there was one string of days, 17, I remember, and at day 18, I checked myself into the emergency room because there had to be something wrong with my brain. There had to be having a migraine for that long of a time. And it really just got to a point where I said, I can't live like this. I'm either going to die or I need to change. And through some beautiful, divine something, I don't even know what, because I had never heard of it before, hypnotherapy came to my mind. And I did a quick little research, and the Healing Quest website came up. And man, something in my heart resonated when I read that was the name of the website of this hypnotherapist. So I contacted her, explained about what I had been dealing with, for nearly 3 decades at this point, and could she please help me? And she said, yes, come in, let's talk. After my very first appointment, I was never the same. Suicide never entered my thought process again, and I truly began healing to a level that I didn't know was possible or that I was even capable of. And what hypnotherapy does is it helps you to restructure the way that you communicate with yourself and the way that your subconscious internalizes things and then the output that you receive from those things. And so I started this whole new journey of health. And on that journey of health, I decided that to break some of the routines that I had going, I needed to move. And I moved to San Diego and met these beautiful people that I am surrounded by today, and I'm so grateful for. And at that time, I was compartmentalizing what health was. I was getting my brain healthy, and that was important. I was no longer depressed, and that was incredible. And I just couldn't quite understand why I wasn't functioning at a higher level. And then I went to Desert Hearts with these two beautiful people. And it was the first time that I got to see you two in that situation I described before, where it isn't just a segment here and there. Yeah, sure. Anybody can be high energy for an hour. And I was just like, how do they have this much energy? How do they have this much positivity to back that energy? How do they have the stamina? And I mean, we're dancing and playing, and you know, it's an interesting environment with a festival. How did they do it? And that was when I really started listening to the things that you guys were saying about your health and about your diet and about what you put in the air around you, what you put in your body, and what you put on your skin.
Those 3 environments, so important.
3 environments, so important. And I realized if those 3 environments are connected together, then the 3 environments of my mind, my body, and my spirit also must be connected together. And that was spring. At the time, I was eating $10 a day in 7-Eleven junk food. Starbursts, sugar-free Monsters, which I thought made them healthy, Rolos, popcorn, emptiness, all just empty. And how I thought that potentially could fuel my body is beyond how my brain even functioned.
I remember talking about this when we first started hanging out and watching you consume, and I was like, no, this is just the beginning the journey of looking at the ingredients list and the aha moments that you had one after another. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to hear more and spend some more time with Casey. Thank you so much for being here. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
HealingOils.love is the place for doTERRA certified pure therapeutic grade essential oils.
Essential oils have been used throughout history in many cultures for their medicinal and therapeutic benefits. Learn about how you can use essential oils every day to maintain a healthy lifestyle and keep your family operating at its highest potential.
Join our communities on Facebook and Instagram at HealingOils.love for tips and recommendations on how you can begin using doTERRA essential oils today.
We're back. Living a Healthy Life with Ipek and Craig. I'm Craig.
And I'm Ipek.
And if you haven't been with us, or if you're just joining us, we've been chatting with Casey Mitchell, a friend of ours, and we're hearing her story, understanding a little bit more about where she's come from, where she's gone, and what it means to live a healthy life for Casey. And before the break, we were talking about Rolos. We were talking about a $10 a day. We'll call it a habit.
Call it a habit.
Right? A $10 a day habit at 7-Eleven in junk food.
7-Eleven.
And really what the conversations that started to come up as Ipek and I started to notice, right? As we're taking out bananas and apples and you're pulling out Rolos and Skittles. And why don't we pick it up from there and we'll keep the conversation going.
Yeah, absolutely. I did. I started to realize how I felt when I was with you guys and eating what you were providing me versus what I was providing myself. And there was one crucial key day that I had stayed the night over here and hadn't had my normal ingestion of sugar and carbohydrates. And the next morning I woke up with a migraine that I had not faced in years. And
hello, withdrawal.
I remember that day, yeah.
Yes, Ipek took very good care of me. I had wanted to spend the day working with her, and I wasn't able to. And there was a weight of disappointment in myself for the inability to rise and be with my friend. And she was so gracious and took care of me. And what did she give me? You remember?
Essential oils.
Yeah. Now, so I think this is an important place to interject that the body finds homeostasis in the inputs that we provide it.
Of course.
And when the inputs are Rolos and high fructose corn syrup and genetically modified sugars and sweeteners,
caffeine,
artificial sweeteners, oh boy, does that not feel so good when you
Yeah.
take it away from your body. Like nicotine or
Your body
alcohol
wants
or
it.
anything
It craves
else.
it because that's the homeostasis.
It expects
phase.
it,
It
and
expects
it
it.
runs off of that. And when you remove it, oh, do you have a couple days
Yeah.
of not so nice?
And that was
face.
certainly something that I experienced, was definitely the lack of energy. I just felt, my body felt heavy when we were making the dietary switch that we made. The headaches, because I've suffered from headaches and migraines in the past, and nowadays I rarely get it. And I realize, maybe perhaps the reason I, just drink some water. Step one,
Drinking a
drink
lot of water. I would add to that. I mean, I was drinking 20 plus ounces of caffeine a day in coffee. And I remember the eye twitches that I used to get, and
the crashes.
the crashes,
in the afternoon.
the headaches.
Yeah.
It was rough, but once
It's
you
a cycle.
transition past it and you power through it and give your body the right nutrients, it will adjust to that and find homeostasis in that as well.
Yeah, so that morning I remember when Casey woke up, she could barely stand up. She could barely move, and I understood the feeling of that migraine, and fed her a bunch of water and put some essential oils, and a side note, peppermint and lavender mixed together and rubbed on the temples and the back of the neck is a great remedy for a headache. So I remember we did that, and then
That is what we did.
It was on to feeding you some nutritious food.
Yep. The next thing she did was load me up with some form of greens, all green. That was what I ate. And I thought, this is not going to take the headache away. She is crazy. Get me some Excedrin, get me some coffee, and get me a sugar glazed donut, and I will be fine.
Right.
And
We
I'm
don't
so
have
grateful.
those in these houses.
I'm so grateful that is not what she did. And at the end of that day, my headache was gone. I was still feeling a little, but I knew that I was on the other side of something very big. And that was the last day that I consumed candy. Or I should say the day, previous to that day. I have not consumed candy since that day.
Yay.
Amazing.
I'm so proud of you, Casey.
I remember the days just after that. I remember how excited you were to count the days.
Yep.
I also remember at about the 30-day mark, you were like, I'm done counting.
I've lost track. It's now ingrained in me.
Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah. And I no longer look at that candy as tempting or any of those things. I have no desire to go back to that, because all I need to do is remember that day and that headache and all of the things that I had wanted to do with my beautiful friend and being unable to do them. That's all I need to never open a bag of candy again.
So there's a lesson here, right? And if you need help, there are people that can help you. If you want to reach out to us on our Facebook page, we will help you. This isn't something that we charge for, but we're happy to be moral support for you. I want you to understand where we're coming from. We're happy to help, and we're happy to share that moral support with you, and we're happy to be a resource for you as well.
And I can testify that comes from the most genuine place as a person who over the last year has received a substantial amount of help from these two in the health realm, in all realms.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so we're beyond the candy fix. We're beyond the sugar. Talk a little bit about maybe your day-to-day life today, because I think Ipek and I live lifestyles that we got so much going on. Everybody has so much going on. Casey has a lot going on as well. How do you acclimate and how do you integrate living a healthy life into the day-to-day today?
Absolutely. So I currently just accepted a full-time position at a real estate company. And for anyone who knows anything about anything in corporate America, it is not a stress-free environment. So I am being very conscious as I enter into this new career, recognizing a few things. I'm recognizing stress. And the way that I approach stress and the way that I handle, I think it's important, living part of a healthy lifestyle, to recognize the words that we're using. And that I'm pulling from my hypnotherapist, how I'm communicating. Yes, it's a stressful environment, but if I say, oh, this deal's a nightmare, this deal's going to be a nightmare. So I'm very cognizant of the words I use and very specific to not trigger the things in my brain that are going to send me into stress mode.
And this is something that's really exciting because Ipek and I have been taking notes on an entire episode that's going to be dedicated to language and the words that we use, in case you've already contributed to that. I don't know if you have, but you've contributed quite powerfully to that episode as well. So a little precursor to a pre-recording.
That's right. The creation of the Conscious Dictionary coming soon.
I look forward to that.
Yeah.
So that's my main thing. I wake up every day and I say, good morning. I'm so grateful to contribute to this beautiful day in my wonderful life.
Morning routines, another thing we've talked about.
Indeed.
That's right.
That moment of positive perspective takes me out of that depression that I faced for so many years. With there, I do a drop of peppermint on my tongue and I spring out of bed.
That's a good way to wake up.
I
It'll
gotta try
definitely get
that.
you out of bed. Yeah, let's add that to our routine.
Yeah, I do wild orange in the bottoms of my feet, and that gives me a nice little perk up. But peppermint, wow, what a nice gem in the morning.
This right now is just an example of what you were saying earlier, sharing ideas with each other and just talking about this yummy, healthy routines and lifestyles all day, every day.
Exactly.
Make sure your peppermint oil is of a therapeutic grade. We use doTERRA oil because we can vouch for its therapeutic quality and its efficacy. Do not buy oils in the store and then ingest them. Make sure you have a high quality oil.
And doTERRA is my preferred oil as well. It's what I have by my bedside. And right when I wake up, after I say my mantra, I put it on my tongue and it gets me into my day.
Just like that.
Just like that.
Yes.
So after my morning routine and ritual that I do, that's very important for me to connect with myself. It's very important for me to do a little stretching, to walk my dog, to meditate, to do some breathing exercises. Then I'm truly ready for my day. On my car drive, I do not listen to the regular radio. I listen to podcasts or I listen to books. I discovered that the beats and frequencies of music and the lyrics were starting to bring me down as I drove, and I was starting to resent my drive. Now I truly look forward to that drive, right? I have a dozen different books that I'm listening to at the time, and some are self-help and some are just fiction, enjoyment, deliciousness. If I have a huge day in front of me and I have the opportunity to have something read to me in beautiful language, man, it sets the tone.
Yeah, the importance of fiction, I think, is really up there. For years, we just focused on reading nonfiction and self-help and growth, personal performance, those types of things. And it was actually Tim Ferriss that mentioned the importance, to me anyway, of reading fiction and integrating that into your repertoire. Really powerful.
Indeed. And I have some really fantastic authors whose messages in their fiction are uplifting and beautiful. Paulo Coelho, who wrote The Alchemist, is one of them. I've read almost every book from him. And I, although it's fiction, learn and reflect deeply based off of his writings. So I recommend him to anyone.
Yeah, so why don't we, Casey, you and I will sit together and we'll create on our Facebook page an album of recommended books, and we can just put pictures of the covers, and we'll get a list of some of the books that you're reading right now.
I would love that. That sounds like a delicious afternoon with you. So then in the office, it has become important to me to do a few things to maintain a healthy life. I pack a lunch full of easy to eat snacks so that I am not wolfing down one meal in the middle of the day. I always have multiple bottles of water near me. I have a couple of my little cantinas that like you guys have, and I use the excuse to go refill those continually to be standing up and stretching. Setting an alarm to remember to stand up, setting an alarm to remember to drink water. And as I take for conference calls that I'm not chained to my computer, I walk up and down the halls, I walk up and down the stairs, and this gets my chi going, this gets my energy going, this puts a smile on my face because I'm not staring at a computer screen.
I like that a lot, right? So at work, I mean, I carry around a 1 liter glass bottle of water, but had I been in an office setting, I like the idea of a smaller 12 or 16 ounce glass that I have to get up to the water fountain to go fill, or I have to go to the water to fill. And I absolutely love the thought process of taking conference calls, walking around or moving, not static at my desk. That was a couple things I took from our conversations the past couple of days, and I'll be implementing myself.
Yes. And I would recommend, I'm almost finished reading it right now, The Urban Monk. And he does a wonderful job of pointing out some of the things that we sort of forget to do, and the science behind it, and our bodies behind it, how our bodies actually work and structure and function. And so, the simple things of, I used to be the type of person that wanted to save the 10 minutes. And so I would eat my lunch at my desk, not cognizant of it. And I've stopped that process, and it has in itself changed the way that I view my workday.
Where do you usually eat lunch?
So now what I do is I take, instead of having a half an hour lunch break, I simply will take one of my snacks. The food that I pack is cut apples with peanut butter, rice cakes, vegetables that are cut and easy. So I'm taking 10-minute breaks randomly throughout the day. And, yesterday I went outside, even though it was raining. I stood under the little cove and I did some stretches, and I thanked the plants, that were providing me with nutrients. And I ate my celery and peanut butter, and enjoyed the beauty of nature and rain. It was 10 minutes. I went back and I was far more productive the whole rest of the afternoon.
Mm-hmm. That's wonderful. Cool. These are just great. What a great opportunity to get some insight into what your day-to-day looks like. Anything else that you want to touch on or add? Anything else that integrates that lifestyle? I assume on the way home you're talking about your podcast. You're listening again on the way home, unwinding from that healthy day.
Exactly. On my way home, I then will listen. And if it's been a stressful day, that's when I pick up the fiction. If I've had kind of an easy day, that's when I pick up some of my self-help. I really can navigate how I want my evening to go by how I enjoy my drive home. And enjoy is the key word there. I think a lot of us resent commutes, right? And the time that it steals from us. Whoa, those words and what we're communicating to ourselves. Instead, let's view them as an opportunity to prep and then an opportunity to unwind. And of course, you're paying attention, so you can't fully unwind. But if you're listening to something that you find enjoyable, additionally, sometimes if I need my brain to simply stop, I put on classical music. I drive home. I then have the opportunity to walk my dog again, so I'm getting a little bit more stretching. I prepare a healthy meal. And a big thing, Craig, that's been important to me right now that I think that you guys will be in on is going to bed earlier. Yep, that's great. But additionally, putting the artificial light away earlier. I'm giving myself more than an hour from the time I close my last screen, from my phone, from my laptop. I don't watch a TV screen, but if I'm someplace else, perhaps, give myself an hour to have none of that artificial light. I've switched to candlelight and Himalayan salt rock lamps in the evenings, and I am sleeping like a baby.
Wow. What a nice addition. We haven't had our episode yet on evening routines. We've done morning rituals and routines. Haven't gotten into the evening. At night, we have 3 salt lamps in our house. It lights pretty much most of our house. It's beautiful at the end of the day to be using that. And in the evening hours, we try and avoid as much blue light as we can. So we use red candle lights. We have hue lighting system here in the house, which is beautiful and wonderful. We haven't gotten into that yet, but we will in another episode as we talk about sleep and we talk about evening routines. That's wonderful. I want to give you a huge hug and a thank you.
Yay.
How I appreciate and we appreciate you being here.
It was a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for joining our radio show and being our first guest.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you both for being the unbelievable wealth of knowledge and incredible influence in my life. And to all of the listeners out there, I say this with just such genuine love that these two will be a resource for you. I am happy to anyone who is facing depression and contemplated suicide, eating disorders, some of the very, very heavy things that exist in this world. reach out to me through the Facebook page of Craig and Ipek, and I will share deeper into my story. I will connect with you. I will provide you a resource on how you can cross that bridge and how you truly can become the happiest, highest version of yourself.
Yeah, I think it's very aptly and very timely, very apt and very timely. January in general has some of the highest suicide rates of the year. And we want you to know that you're not alone, that you always have somebody to talk to, and that you can always reach out to us through the Facebook page and through messages there as well. This has been yet another episode of Living a Healthy Life with Ipek and my beautiful bride, Ipek.
I'm Ipek and you're Craig.
Wait a minute. How does that always happen at the end of the show? I'm just making sure you're listening, and you
That's
are.
right. Keeping it on the photo.
Check us out on Facebook. Once again, that's facebook.com/livingahealthylife.today. You can catch us every week on Radio Anatolia. RadioAnatolia.us is their website. We air Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday at 7 p.m. Pacific.
That's right.
And we are so excited, and we appreciate you. Thank you very much. We will hear from you, or you'll hear from us next week.
Thank you so much to our listeners. And as always, stay in love and gratitude. Thank you.
Love and gratitude.
Ipek Design is a collection of handmade accessories crafted with love and intent. I create each unique piece, setting forth an intention to bring positive energy to the recipient. As I design in my various collections, I charge my creations with positive affirmations for abundance, prosperity, and happiness. Please visit my website, www.ipek.design. You can also find me on Instagram at Ipek Designs. Remember, maintaining positive energy is the essence of true happiness.